Before we get you into a game as Killer, I want to familiarize you with everything that you'll see upon opening this game for the first time. There's a timestamp below that goes over the more gameplay specific tips if that's what you're really here for, and for context, I have a lot of friends and viewers that come from a League of Legends background, and a lot of them have expressed that DBD looks cool, but they have no idea what the hell they're looking at. So this video goes out to all of my League of Legends homies and people that are brand new to the game or just want to know what they're looking at in the DBD menu. Also, hello, I'm a Shiny Sylveon, I'm a Death Slinger main, and I'll guide you through everything that's on screen so that you know what it all does. A lot of it is intuitive, but some of it not so much. To start, Dead by Daylight is a foundationally simple game with several layers of complexity stacked on top of it. Survivors have the goal of completing 5 of the 7 generators that spawn in on the map at random locations. After the last generator is completed, 2 exit gates are powered, and the survivors have to open at least one of them and walk through it to escape. Upon opening an exit gate, the game then enters the endgame collapse, which lasts for 2 minutes, and any survivors that are still in the endgame collapse are then killed immediately if they haven't left the game. If a survivor is the last one in the game because everyone else is dead or has already left, a special exit called the Hatch will spawn at a random spot on the map. Hatch also emits a distant audio cue when it activates, and it can be manually closed by the killer. Now the killer works like a sort of security guard, and they're trying to prevent all of that from happening with the goal of killing as many of the survivors as physically possible. They do this by using their power and their basic attacks to attack a survivor twice to down them, pick them up, and then put them on a sacrificial meat hook. If a survivor is hooked 3 times, or the timer here passes the halfway point and they are hooked a second time, they will be sacrificed and taken out of the game. Games are called trials, and they are put on a specific map which is randomly selected from a pool of 39 different maps and will randomly generate a selection of what we call maze tiles each time you load in. These tiles generally have window vault locations and pallets. Survivors and killers can both vault through windows, but survivors vault faster. Meanwhile, survivors can time dropping a pallet on the killer to stun the killer briefly. They can also vault over drop pallets, but the killer can break drop pallets and remove those pallets from the game. In short, DBD is a deadly game of hide and seek played on an obstacle course from hell. With that basic premise out of the way, let me walk you through what this game looks like upon opening it for the first time. On the left hand of your screen, you'll see 4 different menu buttons: Play, Rift Pass, Quests, and Store. Rift Pass and Store are pretty self-explanatory. They are your Battle Pass and cosmetic store options that every live service game carries around now. However, the store does have this free gift here in the corner, which gives you 250,000 blood points every week if you remember to click on it. Quests are tasks that can be passively completed by the player to gain 3 types of currency: blood points, rift fragments, and iridescent shards. Rift fragments progress your rift pass. Pretty simple. Blood points are the primary currency that players use to progress their characters, which we'll talk about soon. Iridescent shards are a freemium currency that can be slowly accumulated to exchange for cosmetics or characters that are not tied to a third-party license. So, for example, I could spend my iridescent shards to pick up the Singularity, but I couldn't spend it to pick up the Ghostface since it is from the Scream franchise. Clicking on Play yields another drop-down menu: Killer, Survivor, Learn to Play, and Custom Game, and I suggest playing through the Learn to Play segment to understand how the basic controls of the game work, along with the bonus blood points for completing it. Selecting Killer or Survivor chooses your role and character for the upcoming match. I vastly prefer playing the killer role myself, so we'll select that one. Once we're on this menu, we'll be greeted with a long roster of characters. Assuming you haven't purchased any of the DLCs, you will have only 5 killers unlocked: Trapper, Wraith, Nurse, Hillbilly, and Huntress. All these killers have fairly basic powers, but in terms of their relative skill floor and how difficult they are for the first game ever, I'd rate them in this order: Wraith, Huntress, Trapper, a massive gap of a skill floor, Hillbilly, and then finally Nurse. Every killer has a terror radius or a musical theme that they emit when they're in proximity to a survivor. Hillbilly and Nurse's themes can start playing when they're within 40 meters of a survivor, Trapper and Wraiths start playing within 32 meters, while Huntress plays a haunting omnidirectional lullaby from 45 meters away, and her terror radius music within 20 meters. Each killer also runs at 115% of the base survivor run speed at 4.6 meters per second, except for Huntress, who runs at 110% or 4.4, and Nurse, who runs at 96.25% or 3.85 meters per second, because she heavily relies on her power to down survivors. I highly recommend playing the Wraith as your first killer, as his power has the least complexity out of anyone in the game. He rings his bell to cloak and uncloak. While cloaked, he is mostly invisible, moves incredibly fast, his terror radius cannot be heard, but he cannot damage survivors. While uncloaked, he moves slower, can be seen, emits a terror radius, and can damage survivors. Very simple. But something that he is really good at that you could experiment with if you wanted to is body blocking window vault and pallet drop locations before the survivor can reach them. Huntress throws hatchets. Landing a hit with a hatchet injures a healthy survivor and will knock down an injured survivor. She carries 7 hatchets at a time and reloads her shots by opening a locker. And her complexity comes from learning how to lead your shots, but I find her concept to be very simple. Trapper places bear traps, which are best done in front of window vault locations or next to pallets. Pro tip, don't place them underneath the pallet, because if that pallet is dropped, then the survivor can vault over the pallet and not get stunned by the trap, and you can't retrieve the trap if that pallet is dropped, so you'll have to break it to get it back. If a survivor runs into a trap, they are incapacitated and have to struggle out of it or be freed by a teammate. On the 6th struggle attempt, they are guaranteed to escape, but any survivor that escapes a trap will be injured. A trap survivor can be hit with a basic attack to be knocked down, or picked up from a trap directly. One thing that makes Trapper difficult is knowing where to place traps, that his traps can be disarmed by survivors, that they have somewhat forgiving hitboxes, and that Trapper can be stunned by walking into his own traps. The poor guy has it rough. He's really the most difficult of the 3 because of how many setbacks his kit actually has baked into it. Then there's a big gap of skill floor between Trapper and the next killer, Hillbilly. I posed this question on my YouTube community post, and the majority of people agreed that Nurse was tougher for someone's first game, so now you have a community-backed consensus on this. Hillbilly revs a chainsaw and runs super fast with it. The longer he charges or uses the chainsaw, the more that he charges up this overdrive bar. While in overdrive, he runs significantly faster and can turn more while doing a chainsaw sprint. While sprinting, Billy's turning radius is severely reduced, and colliding with an obstacle stuns him briefly. If he collides with a dropped pallet, it breaks instantly, and the saw will immediately down any survivor that it hits. When the chainsaw charges up, there's also a brief moment where the sensitivity skyrockets, and so controlling him can be difficult to learn. If you're struggling to hit long-range shots, try charging the chainsaw while you're in melee range of a survivor to get used to the charge timing. And this is what we call back revving, because you're revving on the survivor's back. And finally, Nurse. Nurse moves slower than survivors at a base speed, meaning that she is completely reliant on her power to tag survivors and knock them down. She can teleport moderate to short distances depending on how long her power is charged for, and has to strike survivors after blinking to damage them. The real challenge of this killer is knowing how long to charge the power for, and keeping track of your targets after blinking. Once you get a grasp on her power though, she is the strongest killer in the game, but she definitely has the highest learning curve to start. However, after a bit of practice, she becomes extremely easy, and, in my opinion, gratifying to maneuver. You'll also notice that on this tab you have a customizations tab where you can see all the cosmetics that you have for your killer, and you can equip charms to your hooks in-game. There's a bunch of codes for unlocking the pride flags if you so choose, and charms are generally given away during events or in the Rift Pass. Bio is where you can find a description of your selected killer's power, their basic stats, their lore, and their 3 unique perks. Each character has perks that are unique to them, which are modifiers that impact the game in the character's favor. For killers, they have perks that generally reveal survivor locations, inflict negative status effects on survivors, and damage generator repair progress. These perks can be equipped in the next tab down on the left, the Loadout tab. As a first timer, you won't have many perks unlocked, and you most likely have them as their green variants. You'll also have only one perk slot available at the very beginning. In order to unlock these, you'll need to go to the next tab called the Blood Web. Here is where you'll spend blood points, which you get from completing games and quests. Completing a Blood Web causes you to level up to level 50, whereupon completing level 50, you'll have to spend 20,000 blood points to get one prestige level. When you get a character to prestige 1, their perks are shared with every other character on their side of the roster, so a killer shares killer perks, survivor shares survivor perks, at the green level. Prestige 2, blue, or level 2, and then purple at prestige 3. Having the purple variant of any perk means that it's at the max level and it won't show up in your blood web anymore. What I suggest is using your blood points that you got from the store and from completing the Learn to Play to get a killer to level 15 so that all of their perk slots are open. For your best first loadout on Wraith, you might want to try these perks. Spies from the Shadows, which looks like a crow, Sloppy Butcher, Hex, No One Escapes Death, and Predator. Spies from the Shadows makes it so that crows near your area reveal survivors walking by. Sloppy Butcher makes it harder for survivors to heal after you've damaged them. Hex, No One Escapes Death, makes it so that when the exit gates are powered, you can down survivors in one hit for as long as the perk remains active. But if a survivor finds the totem that is associated with this perk and cleanses it, then the perk will no longer be active. Predator is a perk that shows you the aura of somebody that escaped being chased by you so that you can have an easier time finding them again. One final thing on the loadout segment is your add-ons section. In addition to the Blood Web having perks to pick from, you will also be given add-ons and offerings. Add-ons modify the strength of your power, while offerings affect minor things about the outcome of the game. For the Wraith, I suggest the two green add-ons called Swift Hunt Mud and Windstorm Mud. These increase your speed while cloaked and your uncloaking speed. In the offering slot, I always pick something that gives me more blood points, since this game is a grind and I'm still trying to get Prestige 100 on Deathslinger. And I know, it's a lot of information, so if you want to go back or pause the video here before I start talking about the game itself, now is a good time to do so. Also, if you found this helpful or have any more questions, please let me know below. Myself or someone else in the community will try to answer those questions for you. And to those who are already in the community, please be kind. These are likely people that are brand new to the game that are confused over the complexity that we have taken for granted. There are no stupid questions, unless they're made for the sake of grabbing attention. When you first load into a match, you will be spawned at a minimum set distance away from the survivors. Generally speaking, this will be the furthest possible distance away so as to give the survivors a few seconds to get their bearings. In order to find them, locate the aura of the furthest generator and start walking in that direction. While you are traveling, make sure to keep your head on a swivel to catch any survivors that might be trying to sneak past you. Once you find your first survivor, you can start chasing them. The goal is to hit them twice with a basic attack, down them, pick them up, and then carry them to a sacrificial meat hook. Killers have two types of basic attacks and lunges. Attacks are short-ranged, and using them incurs a slight speed penalty. This does have a bit more range than you'd expect, as in you don't need to be grinding your hips against the survivor to take a hit, but is more limited than a lunge. Lunges cause the killer to gain a burst of speed forwards to land their attack, but at the cost of a slower movement speed while in the recovery animation. Since Dead by Daylight is a strategy game that rewards good time management, that's what you're most concerned with as killer. Survivors typically want to waste as much of the killer's time as possible so that their teammates can complete the objective. For killer, this means that you can easily be punished for letting chases carry on too long by not pressuring the right target, or by simply being in a part of the map that is far away from the generators. For mistake number 1, sometimes you have to drop chases. If you end up chasing the same person for too long and you can tell that knocking the survivor down is not imminent, then it doesn't hurt to try and find another target. For your first game, if the chase lasts longer than a minute to about a minute and a half and no injury has been scored, it's probably good to drop the chase. This leads into mistake number 2, where you can be chasing the wrong target. Your best targets will always be survivors that will die the next time you hook them, or survivors that are near generators that you want to defend. Chasing near a generator usually intimidates other survivors away from it, buying you more time as killer. Third and finally, if a survivor is clearly trying to lead you to a corner of the map before a chase really starts, then leave them be. There are no rules in this game, just bullies, so if you don't want to chase someone because it doesn't make sense for you, then don't. And after you've completed your first chase and hooked your first survivor, you'll need to do it again. But now that time has passed, the survivors are all across the map. Or are they?
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here.
Well, survivors need to complete generators, and if you're chasing nearby a generator, it's pretty likely that you'll find somebody on one of the further generators from your current position. You are basically rehashing the same strategy that you were at the start of the game. Now, the best way to keep track of everyone is to count. This is a good spot for me to do live commentary stuff on it. But you can see we have this person on the hook. They unhooked, and there's another person here with the Rebecca. So we know where Rebecca, Nancy, and Fung are, and we also saw a sound notification happen behind us, which means that I know where all the people are. And there's Predator kicking in, so we can see the aura of this person. And get it pretty easy down here, especially because one of the other game knowledge things that I have, and this isn't at all pertinent to the beginner's guide thing, but I know that this person, Jeannie, has a perk called Windows Opportunity. And the reason I know that is because Windows Opportunity is a survivor perk that leads them to all of these windows and pallets and what have you. So because of that, because it leads you to all these things, hold on. Because it leads them all to all these things, she's been panic dropping all of the pallets on the map. I'm gonna go for this person again, just keep delaying the game out. See if I can body block the window here. Ah, she has life. That's okay. She has a perk that makes it so that she moves faster when she comes off of a window, or vaults through a window, which is fine. You know? Okay. Just some with the pallet. We can go back and start touching the generator. But really, that's the whole loop of counting, right? Like, I know that they're on... Oh, I didn't even know she was actually here. I wasn't listening very closely. But we know that there's someone on the hook, and then there's someone going for the unhook. And we know the sound notification that goes off of it from there. So because of that, we can just count all the time. I know where 3 people are. 1, 2, 3. Right there. The only unknown is the 4th one, who we see a bird out there, so that means that she's probably out that way. I can catch up to this very quickly, and this is like a no man's land up here. And then we go and get her down. And it's very, very simple fundamentals. And Wraith, as you can see, not a terribly complex killer in his power. See if I can pick up the face in a wall here. Really? That actually catches me. Yeah. Survivors can blind you with flashlights. That's why I'm trying to face a wall there, because I see her pretty plainly, but that's okay. Go get our knock. Actually, I don't want to keep chasing this person, so this is an example of me leaving a chase. Because I know that they have a lot of progress on this gen here. And so it'd be better for me to pressure the person that's actually on the generator than to chase that person into a corner where there's nothing happening. So we'll pick up. Maybe I have to worry about the person with the flashlight, but my general game sense dictates that they have disappeared into the corner. So we get that, and get a kick, and it's pretty simple from there. So now we know where one person is. We can see this blood and scratch marks over here. See if I can beat her to this pallet, and I can. Oh, I was of 2 minds there. But I see 1, 2, 3, 4. I know exactly where everyone is now. Hello. Take a... Oh, she vaulted the window over here. That's not the way you were supposed to go there. But I know where those people are. I kind of want to go for this person now, because she is injured. Can't quite get that. She's going to use her life to try and make distance here. But I'm going to kick this while she's doing things. I'm not going to quite catch her on that. I thought she was at the window again. Unlucky. That's okay. I think we leave. Because again, this generator, see how it's kind of isolated in a corner here? Not exactly a generator we want to work on, but this one, it's in the middle of everything, this is one we want to go for. Especially with this Kate on the back of it. And down she goes. I'm going to face this way because it's away from the rest of the map, so I can't get blinded quite as easily. And take her to a hook, and once again, we now have stock of multiple players. And because of that Nancy's over on that generator on Shack, we know that we have 1, we have 2, 3, most likely this Rebecca on this generator here. We can see her running upstairs now, and that's 4. So again, we know where literally everyone is on the map just by taking stock of all of that. Vaulted back. That's not balanced landing. Balanced landing's a perk that gives him a burst of speed after dropping from a high height. Bing. Faked out. Bing bong. She gonna drop. Easy peasy. Yeah. Play a little more hit and run. I see you there. Go kick this generator while we're here. And then go for the heal that's going down back here. Hello. And down she goes. And I think that Nia is back this way somewhere. Time to look for her. Now, another down for me. Another boon placed upstairs, but that's okay. Thank you for the free hit. We can chase this person again. She's a relatively easy chase. Relatively predictable, I should say. Not that any chase is ever easy. And now that we have Rebecca on Death Hook, because she's been hooked a second time, we have to try and kill her as soon as possible. Now this person is running to a corner of the map, specifically into a very strong building. Shack. I'm not interested in that. I'm going to go instead for the person here. Yeah, there's nobody here. Well, that's good. Nothing there. You can hear generator progress here, though. And tag her. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to recloak and I'm going to go back for this unhook over here. Keep playing hit and run. Playing hit and run, hit and run, hit and run. Kick this. Keep myself in between the Rebecca and the other person. And now if anybody wants to go for this unhook, they have to do it injured. Unless they heal. This generator is still regressing, so really good news for me. Take her down as well to guarantee that hook. Okay. Will we get 2 downs in exchange for the 1 hook on a person that's dead? I think I do pick. Now I know where all 4 are again, because again we have 2 downed here. We have 1 person completing a gen in the corner. Okay, there's Rebecca. We go for Rebecca. Put this person on a timer. Okay. And then you're dead. Oh, no, never mind. Not if I swing it like that. Down we go. Ooh, conspicuous action. So, there's a thing in this game where after a survivor gets unhooked, they have like 10 seconds to where they can't be hit. They'll take what's called an endurance hit. And that endurance hit makes it so that... Second hook there. I can kill this person. Oh, I can kill you, actually. Makes it so that they basically take a free damage hit for a second. And now that I have everyone here, and I see these scratch marks here, I find the Rebecca. And I can run at her now. And all of her friends are unable to help each other out. And down she goes, and that is how we were able to close out this extremely close game. Now, it's possible that they might have a perk that picks them up from the ground here. So that might be something to worry about. I'm going to go kick this totem real quick. You can hear this kind of glowing sound. It's a totem that the survivors have set up. So now that person is dead, and that is how we close out the game. From here, there are several layers to add on top, like perks, killer powers, and how to trick out survivors at pallets or windows, but at a base level, that's what you need to do for your first game as Killer. And I will warn you, it won't always pan out perfectly in your matches, and DBD has a habit of controlling in a much more clunky manner than other games. Getting used to how DBD controls and the specific minutia of every interaction is something that I can't cover fully in an introductory guide, but I hope that this video was helpful in fully contextualizing the foundation with which to build your play style upon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the fog.